This week on New to You, Brain Candy, Part 1, Repossessed. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the New to You Show. I'm one of your hosts, John Holt. With me this week is
Keith Vincent. With us also is
Julian Cage and special guest, Mr.
All right, welcome back, Matt.
Hey.
Matt Rodriguez is here.
All right, so New to You Show is a review podcast where we discuss stuff that is on topic sometimes. Goodbye.
Hey.
And we're going.
All right, so I'm going to be up first.
In 1973, an entire world watched as a little girl and a holy exorcist battled and cast out the devil himself. But now,
I think Nancy has been repossessed.
All right, gang, so I picked the Leslie Nielsen, Linda Blair parody
Classic.
from 1990 of the 1973 horror film The Exorcist. So Repossessed parodies The Exorcist and is terribly good.
Wait, hold up.
It's directed by Bob Logan, who you may know from such amazing films as Meatballs 4.
Wow.
Hey, Meatballs 4. Is that the one with the space aliens?
That's from 92. That's the one that had Corey Feldman. And Ricky is the hottest water skiing instructor around, and he's just been rehired by his former employer / camp to whip up attendance. However, the camp is in serious financial trouble, and the owner of a rival, more popular camp wants to buy them out. Thus, the two camps engage in a winner-take-all competition that will settle the rivalry once and for all.
Wow.
Sounds about right.
Wait, is that
Hijinks.
What is that called?
Originally conceived as a comedy drama titled Happy Campers, it was retooled after production begun to be part of the Meatballs series.
And thank goodness it did.
So that's a little like travel down the lane of this
that's
guy.
interesting because when I was trying to watch Repossessed, I accidentally watched Family Values, which also stars Leslie Nielsen and also involves a camp for kids.
Oh, right.
And it took me I watched 15 minutes of it, and I was like, wait a second, this isn't Repossessed. I was like,
Family
wow.
Values.
Wow, this movie starts really weird.
Was it like one of the regular farce type of?
Kind of. It was like everybody was playing it straight except for Leslie Nielsen, so I
Oh,
would say
okay.
so.
Hmm.
And I don't really know where it was going.
And you didn't
but
finish it, so who knows?
No.
And Bob Logan also, his most recent stuff was 2012 when he wrote and directed. Well, he wrote some, but directed a bunch of episodes of Vidiots. So I don't know.
Is that a show? I don't know anything about
Yeah,
videos.
it was a show.
Okay.
It
I'll have
was
to check
not-
that out. That's new to me.
But basically,
But
this
wait, John, wait. What? Brain Candy?
Why is it Brain
Repossessed?
Candy?
Brain Candy? What?
Vidiots is it looks bad. It's these guys.
It's a great name, I gotta say. And I feel like Vidiots was
It's
the name of a
James
video.
Marsters and Mark Devine. Oh no, this is a more recent version of that. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not. Gonna
Wasn't
get
there
into it.
a video
Sounds vaguely-
rental store chain called Vidiots?
Probably.
Shouldn't.
Oh,
is
this
it-
was an MTV show.
Yeah, that rings. It
where
felt
they-
like. Was it kind of like Liquid Television ish?
No,
No.
I
not
bet you it was
even.
kind of like
It looks like it was
like
I don't
Human
know.
Giant kind of
It's
thing.
not even worth looking.
I
at.
bet it was like some sketch troupe that got a show like Human Giant or The State.
No, I think it's like Beavis and Butthead, but instead of a Beavis and Butthead, you just get two semi-famous people to rag on the music videos.
Oh,
But
There
they
you
also didn't they do that with that DJ and the Fro show?
Yeah, I don't know. So anyhow, Bob Logan has had a starred career. He's made amazing stuff.
yeah,
Like
Repossessed.
All right, so Brain Candy. To me, it's hard if you Google Brain Candy, you're gonna get the Kids in the Hall
Awesome
movie.
movie by Kids in
right?
the Hall.
Which
yeah.
we covered on this podcast. Didn't
Yep.
we?
Or,
Did
or
we do
we've
Brain
talked about
Candy?
Kids in the Hall at least. So we've talked about it at some point.
I don't think we did Brain Candy.
Aw,
Which
damn it!
is,
I could have done Brain Candy.
yeah,
But it
it
would've-
would've-
but
maybe
Brain
a little
Candy-
too on the nose.
So,
You know what? At this point, you still could change it. You haven't recorded your podcast yet.
this was a tough one to pick for me because like I think it was Mary or one of us when we were doing our like so bad it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was like, I don't want to do that because I don't want to, one, don't want to watch anything, and two, don't believe that anything is so bad it's good. Like her philosophically doesn't see that as a thing. So with this, it's sort of like brain candy is the idea that it's content that has like there's no substance. You're literally eating, like watching, consuming, listening to sugar, like content free. So there's the stimulation is minor and the takeaway is probably even less. It's not going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. It's still sweet. It still goes down
It's not
smooth.
like saccharin.
Saccharin probably could work too, but it's not like
But
you won't know.
saccharin is like too sweet.
You won't know you have
don't know.
cancer.
And you do have
until
that
too
weird
later.
taste at
Yeah.
the end.
Basically, it's something that it's not challenging, it's not really thought provoking,
What?
and it doesn't have a lot of work going into it.
What?
It was sort of that's what I think.
Repossessed?
No,
Really?
brain candy.
Oh.
Well, so
Well, not
repossessed.
the movie Brain Candy, the
The
concept.
concept
of,
of
brain
what is brain candy.
candy. Yeah.
So
like porn.
no, but see, porn titillates and like
Oh.
stimulates,
Okay.
and
got
like
it.
It's too intense.
and honestly, people can watch that ironic.
Well, the good kinds is intense. Camping porn.
it's brain candy, not
I'd
brain
say-
crack.
Oh man, y'all, that was a great joke.
Like, I
Come
think-
on, give me that.
I think what, like in terms. So when I was thinking about it, like I was like, oh, probably
Because
like
I said
some,
intense because they're camping.
some
Go
sort of
ahead.
like because they pop tents and they live in them. So the like I was thinking reality TV shows, like at a certain
Yeah.
point,
Mhm.
like they just become noise, and they're not hard to watch,
And they're formulaic.
and they give you they give you some stimulation in your eyeballs, and that's kind of it. Like not not much else penetrates really. Like
I would argue too that like there's kind of like a genre of kind of detective show now that kind of fits this.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
the-
Mary was saying,
the
Law and Orders
CSIs
and
and-
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't
NCIS.
pick that because you watch
See,
a
but-
lot of Law and Order.
Because then I think that those also go into a guilty pleasure, and sometimes I think that those, even though they're formulaic, there are things about the formulas that can be successful, and like they're following a certain structure, and that certain structure has tension, and it has a twist, and it has
There's
like,
a craft to those shows.
right.
Yeah.
Even though the craft is well horn, and you're looking at like mass produced, you can
Mhm.
still recognize that the base design is still
Mm.
recognizable. Reality, like Repossessed, I think falls in the vein of the reality shows, where like reality shows are copies of copies of copies at a certain point, where it's like the formula is there, but they have to tweak the formula to make it at all exciting. Like you don't have to really fuck with a Law and Order. You just change up the crime and grab some other sense.
you rip something
sensationalist
else
thing.
from the headlines.
Right, and
You just rip it right out of the headlines.
so
and
the
put it right in
the base
show.
structure stays the same. You just are switching up the thing. Whereas with a reality show, you switch up the base structure. Usually, like there are some genres of them. I don't want to go too deep into this, but whatever. Yeah, you can mix it up, and you kind of have to get new eyes. But at the end of the day, it just becomes weaker. Like the real challenging reality shows are your like Cinema Verite, Real World 1 and 2, maybe 3, where people were kind of really dipping their toes and figuring it out a little bit more. And some of those earlier movies,
And then it became like, this is what you got to be on
Right.
a reality TV show.
Right.
And the producers got a lot savvier about manipulating the
Mhm.
situation.
Just to throw this little spanner in the works or whatever. Did you know that Mariska Hargitay is the daughter of Jane Mansfield?
I don't know who either of those people are.
So
Mariska
she's
Hargitay is
Mer-
the woman from Law and Order SVU.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
and her
Yeah.
mom was Jane Mansfield.
And who Jane Mansfield is.
Was like
She's like a blonde
buxom
blonde
vixen.
bombshell from the 60s. She was like the
She died in a
second coming of like
car
Marilyn
wreck?
Monroe. Yeah.
What's that?
She was decapitated in a car wreck.
She
Hmm.
that
In Crash,
see.
they talked
Yeah.
about that.
the Crash movie.
That's a
But what
downer.
are some of her famous roles?
Having large breasts and
No, roles.
No, you know that famous.
Shrimp roll.
There's
There's
a
a
famous.
photo.
There's a famous photo
There's a
of
ham roll.
Sophia Loren.
Yeah,
Like,
like
tuna
basically
roll.
he's catching an eyeful of Jane Mansfield.
Oh,
Jane
yeah.
Mansfield.
yeah.
and
Okay.
it's like
yeah.
a brunette versus a blonde. It's actually
Yeah.
a great,
Really
photo,
cool
but-
photo.
a
Yeah,
really good
very
photo.
candid.
But she was sold as a vixen. Like that was her whole
Mm-mm.
persona, much like Marilyn Monroe. But yeah. Anyhow, Repossessed. Repossessed is trying to follow in the formula of your like Naked Guns and Top Secrets and
The Zucker
Airplane.
Abrams film.
yeah,
It's a
Zucker
genre
Abrams
spoof-
and the
spoof movie.
spoof genre. Even Mel Brooks maybe. Like I was actually thinking like as a Mel Brooks, like some of his softer picks
Right.
could maybe fall into a brain candy category.
Right, like
where-
Men in Tights. Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Men in Tights, I think, like that was one where there's there's some silly enough jokes like "lend me your ears" and everyone takes their ears off and throw them. like
No,
where-
those.
but see that there's a craft that he has in them that even though it's like I don't know, Repossessed is like when you look at a Xerox of a Xerox of Xerox and there are pieces missing and you're obviously like, oh, I can't even fill in exactly what's supposed to go here. It's clear that like when they're making this, they didn't understand like how many jokes per minute you need to actually like keep the audience engaged and all this stuff. So it's not a good movie. Like even like the critical reviews were really pretty poor on
Well, I
it.
imagine most Leslie Nielsen movies were not well reviewed.
Well, but when they're reviewing them as gag movies, like your
Basically,
Like Surf
if they were,
Ninjas.
if they were
How
funny,
how well reserved?
if they were funny enough, it would get good reviews.
I mean, and I see more like his parody movies. and
Naked
stuff.
Gun, I bet you was probably okay reviewed, but after that, I bet you he was not ever well reviewed.
The
in-
airplane
in a
movies
single
he was
movie.
well reviewed in, I think.
Well, yeah, maybe you're right.
But
with
even in
Airplane.
Repossessed,
but that's 3 movies.
like even the reviews on Repossessed said that Leslie Nielsen and Linda Blair did a really good job and were good in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this was like Linda Blair's
Right.
Her comeback role, right?
Right.
In this.
Yeah. I mean, as reprising her
Yeah.
role as the child, now an adult. So I'll go through the.
It was the curse that made the movie bad.
Yeah, right. I'll go through a little of the setup, and then we can get back into why this movie's so
What
amazing.
possessed them to do this movie?
Yeah, exactly. So the setup. This is 1990. So 17 years prior, young Nancy Aglet, which is Linda Blair's character, is possessed by the devil, and Father Jebediah Father May I, which is like it was just set up for like a stupid joke.
well, so was the Roger. In Airplane they did that, but it was a
Yeah.
lot more successful.
But they only
Roger
yeah,
over Roger. Yeah.
But they only did it as much as they needed it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just sort of like it's a running terrible gag. So 17 years later, she's a mom. She has like a couple kids and a husband, and it's 1990, the year the movie's coming out, and her body is possessed once again while watching Ernest and Fanny Miracle Hour, a religious broadcast, a huckster like
Jim Baker character. Yeah.
characters played by Ned Beatty.
Jimmy Swaggart
Yeah.
kind of televangelist.
But Ned Beatty plays the televangelist.
Can anyone take Ned Beatty seriously?
In-
Just like on just a side note, like I think
I think
Superman
he's a-
completely ruined him for me.
Man, but if you go back and watch his performance in
Luthor.
in his monologue in
Deliverance?
Network.
Oh, I've never seen Network, so maybe I should give that a shot.
Yeah,
Because
it's
Ned Beatty, I can never like. I mean,
We'll-
not like you're
we'll
supposed to
watch-
take him seriously in Repossessed, but
right.
wasn't he in some cop show too, like Hill Street Blues or something?
I don't know.
Oh, sure.
But if we'll watch that monologue after because it's very good. But he was in The Toy with Richard Pryor.
I
Yes,
saw
he
that
He
in
was
the
also
theater.
in Deliverance.
Oh,
Yeah. He was the squeal like a pig guy. Yeah.
Feel like a pig.
I took him pretty seriously in that movie.
Not
Yeah.
me.
I was like, Sherry.
Now I have that Hill Street Blues
Oh,
sad song in
Homicide
my head.
Life on the Street.
Thanks,
He
Keith.
was Stanley Ball.
That's right.
yeah.
Yes.
All right. So anyhow, enough by version.
Is
so
he still alive? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's still
Ned
kicking.
Beatty's-
They decide that they're going to televise this new exorcism, and the devil's going to use that to possess everybody in the world using the camera. So that's sort of the like
The
big
stakes.
evil plot or whatever. And Father May I had a heart condition, so there's this younger guy, Father Luke Brophy, who played
That's a
by
great
Anthony
name.
Stark, and they just do not stop beating the like Luke, I am your father gag, like him as young Luke Skywalker. They just play that to death. And anyhow, he's the one who's he brings it to Father May I's attention. He's trying to get Father May I to perform this exorcism, blah blah blah. May I decides he's going to get his body together, so he gets to go to a gym and do stupid gym gags. Anyhow,
Where he's punching a rubber chicken like
Jesus,
Rocky.
yeah.
And he does the, how
he had a Rambo lunchbox near the end there.
he does the, when you go to like a Catholic church, how you cross
Oh,
your,
yeah.
do the spectacles, testicles, wallet, watch.
Yeah.
He does that like a bunch of times to get really good at it.
Yeah.
Like he's getting better and better and faster and faster.
Like doing the knife gag. Anyhow, they go and they perform the exorcism, and the devil says, "I hate rock and roll." So they play Devil with a Blue Dress, and they do all these costume changes, and eventually the devil flies up in the air and is gone and says, "I'll be back." And they're like, "Oh shit." And that's the end of the movie. In the course of that, very flimsy plot. You don't need much though. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
And you should have tons of gags and fun, silly stuff. And I remember when I first watched this when I was younger, pretty soon after it came out. It was silly. She at one point spits out like a little Leslie Nielsen head and gives it to the guy. And so one of the running jokes is, "Did I tell you that she gave me a little head?"
Yeah.
And they're all like, "What? What?" Scandalized. And there's like boobs and stupid stuff all throughout. It's a movie that you could put on and not watch and be fine. It's a movie, if you were sick and it was on like TNT, you would probably be like, "That's fine."
That's probably how I watched it, and that's why I agree with your pick as it being Brain Candy, because if I'm flipping through channels, I'm just like, I'll watch this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And for every bad joke, there's one good. For every 5 bad jokes, there's maybe something to make you snicker.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the challenge. So where these movies are really good is the classic comedy. Play with expectations and tweak them, and whether that's going real surreal with something like that amazing gag in Top Secret where they're like use forced perspective to have the guy give the guy a giant phone, or I don't just like. Top Secret does all kinds of amazing surreal gags. When they punch that guard off the roof and he falls and he's like porcelain.
So when the Pinto, they're like hitting the brakes, and it just barely dings the thing and it explodes. Yeah.
So in that kind of comedy, you also get the easy jokes. Like those are going to happen. Like where they make a little easy joke. The problem is the surreal stuff wasn't surreal enough. And the easy jokes were
Wait. Are we going right into what's bad about this?
I'm going back to Repossessed. Well, what I'm kind of saying is it's also an explanation of why it's also Brain Candy.
Okay, gotcha.
Where it's not challenging you. You know the joke that's coming.
Because at the heart of this podcast, we hope to spread good things to others, right, and explain to them why we think they're good. So what we're not just gonna say like, "Oh man, Repossessed is a big pile of steam and poop," but if you're super bored, go ahead and put it on, right? We're not saying
it
that.
is. I am. I'm saying if you need something inoffensive to put on,
it's really offensive.
if you need something that requires, like if you have the flu or like a really bad migraine, but can still watch something,
Yeah.
like
if you're
bored,
possessed by a virus,
and you need to kill 89 minutes, then put on Repossessed and you'll be fine. Like you won't be too messed up. You might go.
So would you consider this better than that weird vampire one that they did?
Dracula at First Bite?
Yeah.
I think that was
feel like
another one
this
I was
is worse than
considering.
that.
This one's really bad.
Yeah.
Compared to that. This is like a 1 out of 4.
This is the one I would have if you had asked me about this a couple weeks ago, I would have just sworn that this was a Zucker Abrams, but it's not. There was like some copycatters.
Yeah. I mean,
And the fact that they got Leslie Nielsen to be in such a copycat of a
That's why I want to like draw a distinction that even the softest of the Zucker Abrams stuff and the softest of the Mel Brooks stuff has like the reason why the Mel Brooks stuff doesn't work sometimes is because he's like trying something like it's like a little experimental or weird
or he's old
or it's
like Robin Hood Men in Tights.
It's
like
I mean I still think that one has some like weird fun unexpected stuff and is playing as a
I would
parody.
put that on par with Repossessed. And trust me,
it's definitely better than.
I think the
Repossessed.
gags. I think the gags in Repossessed are too far between. I think there's too much air between the gags, and I think the gags are too simple.
The cast
and there's too much setup for the gags in this one.
Robin Hood, the cast is really good, though. I should say that's. I think. Andy, Dave Chappelle's in it.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman.
No.
What?
Morgan Freeman's not in it.
What's his name from Engage the Mechanism is in it. The baseball
no,
guy.
No, he's not.
Kevin
Costner is not
he's
in it.
No.
Yeah. But he's always in water.
Robin Hood.
What?
He's always in water.
Yeah.
And he follows like.
No, but
well, they
Rich,
crack. They crack on him,
the
right?
comedian Richard
Pryor.
No, we just don't know names tonight. It's
Branson.
fine. No, but he plays the sheriff of Nottingham.
Oh yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
That guy.
Man, he's really good.
Repossessed. So I would. All right, I'll open it up after this.
Rabbi Tuckman.
It is fine. It is it is probably like if you run out of parody comedies, then
That's a long list to go through.
that like, or when you're running out, this one kind of is in that low part of the barrel. There aren't very many. Like, this is gonna be swimming at the bottom, feeding with some of the other bottom feeders.
Yeah.
It definitely is like circulated from the stronger stuff. It's not quite there. And basically,
Dracula Dead and Loving It, I think
is that what it is? Yeah, that's right.
And I think this is right down there with that.
Oh yeah. You're
Schedule?
probably right.
Schedule?
Yeah. Oh.
That's a joke in that.
So, but that's the other thing too, is a lot of these jokes it's clear that someone who watched and loved the Zucker Abram films, and loves Mel Brooks and loves the parody genre, but doesn't really know how to execute it at all. And then was like, I think this is really funny. I'm going to write this. And it's just, within it, you just kind of get the sense of like, this is someone who has a particular sense of humor, very particular to them. And they really like putting this out there. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, do you, like, there was a very long setup for an Oliver North joke. It was just, poof.
Very dated. Also,
I'm sorry if you already stated this, but what was the first time you've seen this? How old were you?
So this is 1990, so I would have been like,
oh, well, that's
yeah.
I almost want to say 1990. Oh, that was like a couple of years ago, but that's
yeah.
It's like, oh wow, that's really like.
I will
Yes,
say, I
40
imagine
years
I
ago.
watched
Yeah,
this
40
with
years ago.
enthusiasm when it first came out because I was the perfect audience for
I was probably 12 or
Naked
13
Gun,
when this came out.
Airplane. I grew up on Airplane 2. I actually saw Airplane 2 way more than Airplane 1. And Naked Gun, Loaded Weapon, like all these movies. I was just Hot Shots, Top Secret. Like,
Yeah.
I just ate these up.
Yeah, see, we probably rented it or it was on
yeah,
TV.
I'm almost certain you probably rented
like
it
because like when basically it'd be like a year after 13, 14. That's when we watching this, and it's like you're old enough to watch stupid R-rated movies, or they're on USA Up All Night or something stupid. And
I remember when I grew up on HBO, they used to have rated R movies right like on Saturday morning, and then like my brother and I would like put it on,
It'd be like, if mom and dad comes, you got to switch it back over to cartoons.
Yeah, we got to switch it back over to Rubik's Cube or something. And the alien with the face. Oh, this is a really good cartoon. And then when she's gone, we used to flip it back.
Then it's right back to the man with one red shoe.
Like right back to Caddyshack.
But I'm looking at Leslie Nielsen's later filmography, and it's very sad because he is like his timing and deadpan is absolutely perfect. Like you see him in the old Airplane movies, you see him in Naked Gun. He is perfect. He is so good at what he does. This like deadpan comedy, being the like oblivious kind of foil is amazing, but man, Dracula Dead and Loving It, 2001, A Space Travesty, Wrongfully Accused, which is like a spoof of The Fugitive.
he didn't even make it into the
Camouflage,
first scary movie. Like
Spy Hard.
I love Slapshot 3, the Junior League. So stupid.
Poor guy.
Yeah, he really got.
And it's a bummer because maybe he was just making money, and good for him, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just like he's really much better than I'm sure 2001: A Space Travesty.
I love that the marketing for this film was also equally uninspired. Like, there's literally a poster that looks exactly like the Naked Gun poster, except he's on a cross instead of a bullet. And he's holding a cross instead of a gun. And the colors and the font, everything.
Yep.
So they're just like, hey, did you like Naked Gun? Watch this one too.
Yeah.
Is your grandma going to be confused when she rents your videos? Maybe she'll rent this like she did those like crazy fake Disney movies.
Parodying a parody.
Yeah.
But that's like those new films that's coming out now too, right? I haven't seen any of them, but I think like the Wayans brothers work on them.
Well, I mean, I feel like they've kind of graduated from that, but
like
I
Scary
would-
Movie.
Well, now they're more
or-
like ensemble cast.
Yeah.
They're less about like
a lot of
one
cameos.
actor.
But even those old films,
Not
had
another teen movie.
Like Airplane had a bunch of cameos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Yeah, I mean the challenge too is that
So
like don't be a sucker while drinking your gin in the hood or whatever. Like don't be a
While
There's
drinking
the
your
Boys
juice
in the Hood parody.
Yeah.
But like there's those are genre parodies, and Repossessed is like a movie. Like I don't know, when you get into like straight movie parodies, I know Mel Brooks and stuff does it, but you limit yourself pretty far when you do that, and I don't know, like it just you have to
I
have.
don't
a
know.
movie that's
It is a
substantive
ripe.
enough.
It's a ripe. Especially in this time of oversaturated pop culture. I feel like there's a lot of I don't know, meat on the bone for
Yeah.
somebody who's going to parody.
But I think like your scary movies succeed. They aren't the best, but they're better because they play with all different genres.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of different monster movies referenced and parodied, and they'll be like Exorcist will be a 3-shot scene
Right,
in a scary
instead of a
movie
whole movie, yeah.
instead of a whole movie.
What they do really well, I feel like, is the Weird Al parody, like the Weird Al polka medleys that he'll do. He'll kind of pick the top, 5 or 6 songs that you've heard overplayed on the radio for the past 2 years and make it into a polka, and suddenly it's really funny. And I think that that's kind of what the Not Another Scary Movie is. You know what I mean? And that's what I think that where Repossessed doesn't.
Well, that's why, like, I don't know if you guys see Mel Brooks' High Anxiety.
Yeah, I liked High Anxiety.
It's Vertigo. I mean, it's straight up Vertigo, and he'll throw a couple more Hitchcock
It's
references
not as
in there.
yeah. It's
But it's pretty, and like we've already referenced Men in Tights, like that is, Prince of Thieves, but it's a little
no.
bit
I feel
broader,
like
but-
he will take a popular thing like the amalgamation of several Hitchcock movies,
yeah.
but where he goes with it is gonna be it's funnier than
Right.
just a straight up spoof.
Right.
Like Spaceballs. Spaceballs is not a straight up spoof of Star Wars at all. I mean, it plays around with some of the same language, but I mean, it's a totally, it's almost more like an old Western than like making a spoof of Star Wars.
Right, he added enough of his own thing.
Right, yeah,
Like
right.
he kind of took like all the main characters and tropes and then like made his version of them. But then once he created that, he kind of went
Right.
like he was true to that world and wasn't too worried about following plots and stuff.
And he wasn't so worried about like, oh, I hope everyone gets this, that I'm making a connection to Star Wars, because really,
Although, I mean, the connections to Star Wars are very like straight up,
Yeah,
but they're
like we're-
really good.
yeah.
They're
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good. But
Well, that's the thing. He's also it's a level of like taste in the writing. Like
yeah.
this guy is it's like the bad Garbage Pail Kids from series 7
Like
or
the
8,
movie.
Yeah, the movie.
that's
But-
why I do think the ones that like Hot Shots, like
Yeah.
where they're just parodying like a genre, and I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 films in particular that they reference a lot, but generally it's like they can just throw so many references in.
Well, like Airplane was. I mean, there were Airport 1947. Like
Yeah, it's
there were-
kind of disaster movie.
Right.
Well, the first Airplane was a direct spoof of a specific
Airport movie.
Right, yeah.
Airport.
The second one was just like throw all that out the window. You're just gonna they're going to outer space.
That plane is in a knot again. It's tied up in a knot.
And they showed when like Captain Kirk is the ruler of the moon base that they're going to land on, and they have to go shh to open the doors. Shh.
But I mean, it's
Striker.
pretty. That's the other thing that's going to be challenging with some of these like picks. I think is that there's not much to say about Brain
Yeah,
Candy.
it is difficult.
Where it's like because I could tell you like Storage Wars. They go and they do this stuff and they get this thing. Unless there's like something punctuated like this one episode where this guy punched this guy and that's why he's not even on the show anymore because he's in jail for really like you know what I mean. If there's like
Wait, is that real?
I don't know. I just made that shit. Now you want to watch Storage Wars, don't you?
No, because I used to when I would go visit my dad.
Yes.
Storage Wars was always on, and the thing that
Like any of those shows.
I'm gonna
are-
get on.
yeah.
I'm gonna get on a little rant
Duck
here
Dynasty.
for a second.
Yeah.
Whenever they do this thing where they're like, I took in the haul from the thing. I paid $500 for this locker, and I found this thing. I could sell that for $3,000 in my shop. Cha-ching! It's just like, wait, there's no proof that you can. You're just claiming that you
Yeah.
can sell that for $3,000. Why do you get credit for that?
You
Like,
love
they always
that
show-
swagger.
They always show
Yeah.
they always show it as some kind of like,
Running
this
tally.
is his profit off of this
Right.
thing. It's just like, wait, you're talking about potentially selling
And there's
this
like
thing.
there was like the
Hey.
competition ones too.
Right.
Like,
But,
who
you
make the
you
most
could
money?
critique Antique Roadshow with the same thing.
No,
The
because
guy
those-
says, "Hey, this is worth X amount," and you're like, "Wow!" But
Yeah,
And
but
then
try
you
to
make-
sell it.
But
you
then
know?
they found out one of them was a fraud.
oh,
You remember that?
who was the a
And they
guy?
punched him.
Yeah,
and
the
he
guy
wasn't
had
on the
it
show
like
anymore.
he was like set up. The guy set it up that one guy.
Was it like a joke? Like, was it Austin Powers the whole time?
No.
Yeah, baby.
It's a man, man.
You've been on my reality TV show this whole time.
Yeah. You
In
guys,
fact, Antique
yeah.
Roadshow has just been a lead up to this one spoof
Yeah.
for the 20 years. No, but there was a guy who was a real fake.
yeah, some guy like set up another guy, so he's like, "Hey, bring this in," and then I mean, I'm probably getting my facts all wrong, and I'm probably making this. No, but there was some sort of commotion or
That's funny.
scandal
Yeah.
where like this. I'm pretty sure there was a guy who told this other guy, "Come in with this, and
We'll get you on the air.
we'll get you on the air." And plus, this is a big find. But somebody needs to Google that to make sure I didn't make this up.
That's all right, Mister.
Yeah, it's called fake nudity.
Yeah.
Fake
So,
news to you.
What'd you guys think of Repossessed?
I think it fits. I think it fits the concept of brain candy.
I thought it would be more appropriate for like Brain Dead or
But see, I think that's what.
or So Bad It's Bad.
Yeah, So Bad It's Good would have worked on this.
No,
I don't
no,
think
So
it's
Bad
So
It's
Bad It's
Bad.
I want to go back. I want
So
to go
Bad
back.
It's Bad.
I think
Keith.
it's
Yeah, that's
but
true.
see,
But I want
think
to
it's
circle
not
back on
even
what
so,
Mary
like,
said.
Bad.
So Mary claims that she doesn't like anything that's so bad it's good.
She just thinks that if it's so bad it's good, it's just good at that point. It's just good for different reasons. You know what I mean?
It's
just
confusing.
it's a different measure. She's like, well, if you're whatever. I'm not gonna deal. We're not gonna deal with
We're
that.
not gonna.
I just get like a mental thing where like you take those toys and you pull it inside out. And,
No.
and that's like Mary's statement. Like it just like it infinitely goes in and out, and you like kind of twirl it.
What is this
I
toy?
don't know what you're talking
Like,
about.
like
I
a
think,
rubber hand
I
puppet,
think
for
she's
example.
not, she's not here to discuss this.
Like a dinosaur puppet that you
better.
get
Yeah,
at Burger King.
exactly.
Ah, Mary,
you
you're
got
not
it.
here to
We'll
discuss
get
this.
her on the, we'll get her on the line.
I'm gonna get you that toy, Mary.
Hey, Mary, you're new to you. There have been some allegations that your concept is like a toy that's been turned inside out infinitively.
Yeah, what do you got to say for yourself, Mary?
I think it's so bad it's good.
Anyway, sorry. Jules was saying something about how this
yeah,
is so
sorry.
bad it's bad.
You can edit all that out. I don't want to be in trouble with Mary.
Well, yeah. So I had trouble watching the movie because the link you gave me, like you shared with me, was having trouble, and then I was able to find some clips on YouTube, and I was like, I've seen enough. Well, also, fun fact, it won a Raspberry Award for the song featured in the film, or one of the
there's,
songs.
like,
Devil
bunch
with
of
the
terrible
or was it
songs.
repossessed? That one.
No, there's like another one that
I think it might have been the other
might
one.
have been the rap at the end. that
Well,
they-
Maybe it was the rap at the end.
Well, the devil with the blue dress was pretty atrocious.
but that's a cover.
No, devil with the red dress is the real song.
I don't know. Who cares? Stupid
Oh, maybe
song.
you're right.
No,
devil with the blue
uh,
dress.
no, blue dress, yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's like when it's like a little bit like painful, it's not brain candy. It's more like
See, but
it's like eating a candy and then it's sour, and you're like.
But I think
"Ah."
it's sort of like it's not even. It's just so innocuous. Like it's basically the pain that I got was actually on rewatching it. Like now with like a little bit of like cultural sensitivity,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
pretty shitty. Like there's
Ooh.
some just shitty
So
stuff.
this is more of like your memory of when you would watch that kind of stuff back
even
in the day.
even so, basically, like I wouldn't watch this in like I would trigger warning it or whatever. You know,
So-
like I would tell people like, hey, there's like unnecessary gratuitous sex and like stupid, not even sex, just like stupid like people being naked.
Now you know what? It just shot up. Like
And there's some like
Now
there's
people-
like
What
people
did?
being
people are
What
gonna
just shot
start
up?
renting it up.
Something just
I
shot
know.
up.
Yeah.
well, also like there was
That's
a
the gratuitous
like
stuff.
the people.
Does
like,
it have OJ in it?
no
No, that's Naked Gun.
but they've got you know like terrible like portrayals of people who are gay and like jokes that are just
yeah.
like
Yeah, cheap shot.
cheap shots that are like it's punching down a lot
Yeah.
and it's like
OJ with a knife.
and all the jokes are really easy. Yeah.
Oh man, he's out, right?
You're in trouble, Mr. Mister. He's out of jail
Edit
now.
that.
Careful.
And he listened.
Oh.
He said
My
he-
name is Julian Cage.
Don't worry, Mr. Mister. He won't go all the way to Queens to find you. on
Good.
23rd Street and between the apartment 5.
Apartment 5 and 6.
He won't go all the way there
Yeah.
between the hours of 5 and 10 when you're there at home, not at work.
Anyway. Hey, fun fact, right? And I
Okay.
think you were there too.
Yeah,
So I'll start.
I know what you're gonna say.
So I was at not Repossessed, but what's the actual movie that was on? The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
And it was what year was it? 2000,
2000, I think. Either 2000 or 99.
or 99. Yeah. So they were re-showing it at the Sherry?
Yep.
In
Boston.
In Boston. And I got there late. My buddy, I was there with Rich, my buddy. I found out that you were there later, but I was in the back. I got in late, and there was this person who kept on like going in and out, and it was driving me nuts. And I was about to say something to them, like, I'm trying to enjoy the movie. This is the last time I saw this movie, I was a kid. So when they turn on the lights, they say, "Hey, we have a surprise for you. Linda Blair
Blair's here to take
is here."
questions.
And then she like got up from behind me, and then she
was the one that was
yeah.
going in and out.
Yep,
Because she saw that movie.
She saw that movie. She's like, ah. But,
She's like, oh, this is the part that brings back these
yeah,
these
these
childhood trauma.
traumas, yeah. And then I
I
remember.
think it might have been 2002 because the first one was a 72, right? So it might have been the,
70.
like the 20 or 30 year anniversary or
Yeah,
something. I can't
yeah.
do math.
And
But
then I saw you there. You were.
yeah, it was
yeah.
a new print.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a new print and stuff. And she got up and she spoke to the people. And then I remember that's when I was talking to you. And you're like, darn it. I'm like, what's the matter? He's like, I wanted to ask her a question. I said, what are you going to ask her? What possessed you to do this movie?
Oh.
Yep, classic Keith. Even then I
And
had it.
and that's
You
like
weren't going to ask about Repossessed?
Well, if John was there, he would
yeah.
ask.
I'd be like,
What-
I'd be like that the stupid nerd character in the audience of his thing.
No,
like-
you would have just stole like Keith's joke, except put what repossessed
Yeah.
you to do this movie.
So stupid. And those are better jokes than the movie. Oh.
Yeah.
But is it true that there are orgies at the Vatican?
What?
Do you keep to your vow of celibacy? I do.
Is that Little
Are
John?
those jokes from the?
That's
Are those
the
jokes from the movie?
Oh wow.
That's pretty funny.
No, it's not.
It's funny when you say,
Yeah. I like it when John like reenacts whole movies.
Yeah. All right. Ready?
That should be our new podcast.
That's my brain candy.
Yeah.
Wait, John, do Harry and the Hendersons next.
Yeah, but that
I'm a man, not a monster. No, you're a Sasquatch, Harry.
but John Stout.
You are a
is-
monster.
Ned Beatty's in that too.
Yeah.
What?
Oh.
See, but John Stout is to like start one movie and then
Yeah,
he'll
yeah,
like
morph it.
slowly morph into a different movie.
Yeah, that's right.
And I've seen him explain movies to people where they're like, wait, is that a different movie? At the point that they realize he's talking about a different movie, he's on to the next 3 movies, trying to explain the movie to them.
And why they're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And they
Why
that's-
Star Wars is the best movie. Yeah. So Repossessed.
So would anyone here recommend Repossessed to anyone? And if you would, what are the situations? And now John is
Yeah.
taking the soapbox of our podcast with its vast listenership to say Repossessed is a movie that is not good and maybe he would watch it again.
No, I mean,
Right? Or what?
I'd say that if you were putting together like a party where you wanted something that nobody's really going to watch on in the background,
Uh-huh.
you could put on Repossessed, and like that,
Yeah.
an awkward person could sit and watch it, but you could like. That's kind of it. I mean, also if you were
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna show movies and then they're parody pairings, like
Oh,
a
that'd
parody
be good.
pairing evening. Then when you show The
Oh,
Exorcist, you
pretty
do
cool.
a parody pairing with this.
That's not a bad idea.
It would also be good, like, if you play clips at your backdrop of your Halloween party, you
Oh,
play
yeah.
clips from The Exorcist, but then you intercut just a few
That
scenes.
Oh, that'd
It
be
would
from
be
cool.
pretty
Repossessed.
amazing to like do a super cut where you take The Exorcist and try to like fit like
Just cut all Linda Blair's parts in,
yeah.
like replace the Repossessed
The
stuff.
older Linda Blair into it.
Yeah.
Now we got a project.
but is
now
there-
we're talking.
Yeah, but you gotta like. Is there a like a really good film that Linda Blair was in?
Mm.
Exorcist
I
is a
mean,
really good
besides,
film that Linda Blair was in.
Oh, that was a good film.
Yes,
Oh.
absolutely, yes.
I think is Linda Blair's mom in this the like archaeologist woman in Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
Looked familiar, but I don't know. Probably I'm not even gonna worry about it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Don't worry.
But
about
Linda
it.
Blair was in this really kind of
Yeah.
interesting like roller skating movie that took place in Venice in like 1980, and I think it was a musical. It
Not
was,
Xanadu.
No, but it kind of felt like
Was it
Xanadu.
a spoof of Xanadu?
No, but it
See,
was like
that's-
it
that's-
starts off with
right.
them like roller skating down like the boardwalk in Venice.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's what I was
she's
saying,
the
like-
rich kid, I think.
Like
Like
intercut
breaking,
those.
like breaking.
like breaking.
Yeah.
But intercut those with Repossessed and Exorcist,
Yeah,
and then be like, surprise! It's not a Halloween party. It's a Linda Blair party.
Yeah, it's a Blair off.
It's a Blair off.
We're gonna
and you
go.
can have all the good Selma Blair movies in there
Yeah.
too at the same time,
Some-
and all the clips of Blair from Facts of Life.
Yeah, or was there? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I was gonna say Golden Girls. It's like I don't think there's
No,
a Blair in
Facts of
Golden
Life.
Girls.
Facts of Life had Blair.
yeah.
I'm really
Blair
trying to find this roller
Duvall.
skating movie, Keith.
Oh,
I'm thinking of Blanche.
Oh, she was in Chained Heat.
it would have been before that.
What about you, Mister? Where would you watch? Would you watch this?
You know what?
Roller Boogie. Sorry.
There you
Sorry to
go,
interrupt.
Roller Boogie.
I got excited.
I would be really excited to see this. I mean, I've seen a trailer and I'm like, I know this film already. However, saying that, I would still be excited to see it if it was super late at night and you're like kind of in a dream state. And you're like, what the hell is this? And then you're like, huh. You know, like what you mentioned before. Like, that's all right. That's a pretty good joke. That
I
could
get
work.
you. I get you. Like
But
you're like just
And then
too
it-
tired to change
yeah.
the channel.
Yeah,
But
you're
then
like,
it's-
oh, I forgot about me.
And then it sticks in like those old films that you watch at super late at night on a weird channel, and it sticks
Mm.
with you. It kind of sticks in your memory, and I don't know. So yes,
I think
would
this
watch
movie
it.
would be really good in Spanish or some like language that I don't.
Well, on YouTube, one of the clips of them doing
Was it-
"Devil with a Blue Dress" was all in Spanish. So
Or what if you're like super high?
See? Yeah.
yeah,
I,
man.
I didn't
then
say
it would
that.
freak you out, man.
Whoa. Whoa.
But there was like a Chappaquiddick like Ted Kennedy joke in this one too. There's a lot of setup to it. Did you guys see that part? They're playing with the Ouija board, but they call it like the spiritual board or whatever. And they're like goofing
because
around
Milton
with.
Bradley owns the right
Yeah.
for Ouija.
So they like go and they're like, "Will Ted Kennedy ever be president?" And the like planchette like bounces around the room and goes like hits something that hits a car that rolls across the mantle and lands in the fish tank upside down. It was just like, oh wah wah.
That's pretty good.
Boy, that's
Pretty
like
good joke.
that's a 10. That was a 10-year-old joke when it was
Yeah.
when it was on.
I mean, no, it
new.
was 10. It was older than 10 years.
Well,
right?
1980 was
Yeah,
when he
yeah.
was running.
Exactly 10 years. They were celebrating the anniversary.
Lame.
Yeah.
Lame.
But I mean, yeah. Oh, such a good.
Whoa, wait a second, guys. I'm looking at Linda Blair's filmography right here, right now on my futuristic device.
Mhm.
She was in Airport 1975, the movie
What?
that Airplane spoofed.
Wow.
Yeah, she plays Janice Abbott.
So one of the kids.
I'm assuming.
Wow, that just blew my mind. Just like that toy that
It
goes
all
inside out,
What is the toy that goes
and it goes infinite. It just infinite like.
Is it you talking about like
inside
the
out.
Wet Willy thing?
No, but it's like that except vertical. I love that Wet Willy thing. He's trying to hold on to it, and it's just like, and it's just
and
like,
you're like, why did somebody give me this sex
Yeah.
toy to play with? I'm 7.
I already have a fleshlight.
I'm like, I can't capture this thing.
Wow.
This is the worst Pokemon
So,
ever.
so you're gonna have to get on the internet and show me this Inside Out toy because I don't know what this is.
I know exactly what.
But
But it- but hold,
realgirls.com.
would you-
Inside Out Forever toy?
Holt, what would anyone here? What would be your rankings of I mean, do you have like just off the top of your head, like a best of kind of spoof movies that where this one would be at the bottom of the barrel of?
I don't know. See, well, so there's some movies that I think elevate themselves beyond spoof. Like I think Top Secret
Mm-hmm.
is a spoof movie, but I think it's more than like it's its
Yeah.
own movie in its own right. I would say that
I think the Naked Gun movies too. They're
Yeah.
they're broad enough.
I think because was it Police
Police
Squad?
Squad.
Did like it? They're like elevated from Police Squad. I think they do a little more.
Well, they recycled quite a few of the jokes
Yeah,
from
that's
Police
true.
Squad. Is this some kind of bust?
yeah.
Yes.
Look, this is
Great.
the toy that goes inside out.
It's from the movie Inside Out.
Oh shit!
So I would say, in terms of other spoof movies, like Blazing Saddles, I think elevates itself above. A spoof
Yeah, I don't think
movie.
that's a spoof movie. I think that's a straight up just awesome comedy.
Yeah.
Same with most of the Mel Brooks movies up until like Spaceballs.
I don't know why. I have really
Anxiety.
fond memories of Hot Shots and
Yeah.
Hot Shots
Hot
Part
Shots
Deux.
Part 2
Yeah.
is really good. I mean, those are way better than their source movies.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe like
I'm taking back my chafing dish.
I think it's one like Major League is
What?
one.
Major League's not a spoof movie.
It's like a sports spoof.
But
movie.
no, it's
no, but
not.
it's kind of like
it's
its
kind of
own
trying to be
thing.
it's trying to be more of a
It's still
Yeah.
got
straight
heart
up
and all
comedy.
that.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
trying to be more of a
yeah.
straight up comedy.
It has a heart.
Yeah.
I think,
And
I-
they actually paid for the rights to use the Cleveland Indians
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
some big and Tom Berenger was no like washed up guy. I mean, he was a real guy when that came out.
Yeah, I don't know. In terms
I mean,
of,
not
like,
that he ever became washed up. I'm just saying like
And Charlie Sheen wasn't too crazy yet.
no, he was.
Yeah,
a
I mean,
wild
I think
thing.
like the airplane movies are pretty like top of the heap.
I think that's. I think you've named off enough good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't
I
have
think
to
you're
keep-
good. I think those are all fine. I don't know.
Yeah, but they're probably all offensive if we were to watch them now.
Airplane holds
Yeah.
up. I mean,
I
that you know,
think
there's some.
Airplane, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of like who
But-
speaks jive stuff that's kind of rough. There's
But see, like
you know,
even the stuff that's like off color and rude is like it's done in a way that's like aware that it's insensitive
Right.
versus
supposed to
being
be.
like real shitty. You know?
I think that there's just as much like bad because of the insensitivity of its times as like Fletch. You know what I mean? Or
I used to love Fletch.
Beverly Hills Cop. No, those are great.
Oh.
They're great movies, but I'm sure there are items in them where you're just like
Yeah, that
Yeah,
haven't aged
probably.
that
well.
would not go over
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
today. That
Like
type of thing.
was it Animal House has a lot of that stuff too, where it's just like weird rape stuff and like
Yeah.
stuff that
Oh really?
Well, my pick that we'll be discussing in a couple weeks has a few little like hey buddy, that's a little stalkery. It didn't age very well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So where you can watch it. You can buy it rent it on iTunes or Amazon if you
But
want
don't do that.
to. It'll probably come up on like some TV station or streaming station at some point. It's not really streaming.
Watch it on USA
Netflix.
Up All Night with Gilbert
Yeah,
Godfrey.
exactly. Go back and rent
Do
it.
they
at
still show
Blockbuster.
that?
No.
God, that would be great.
Up all night. You're watching USA's Up All Night.
Yeah.
Did he really host that?
Yeah. Every so he did Saturday night and Rhonda Rhodes.
Yeah.
Rhonda somebody did every Friday night. Yeah.
Wow.
I watched those quite a bit. That's how I saw that was my introduction to the trauma movies, which actually would have fit really well with this theme.
Yeah, see, I guess because I was thinking of that stuff too, and I even think that those challenge you with like a gross out factor, and like are like they're kind of I don't know about elevated, but they're like not. You have to actually like work to watch them. You know what I mean?
You really do.
And that's that means that there's like a passion to it. Whereas this one, it's like, like
Well, I'm still kind of confused why you picked this movie.
well because
like, why didn't you pick a better one?
because I think that better ones are
He would by Holt's standard of brain candy.
Mhm.
This is the kind of movie that it should. be.
right. Like this is a movie where you are basically reading the script and going because that's all it is. It really is like the script being like told to you by the director.
I still like knowing you. Like, I'm surprised you didn't pick a show.
Like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
But see,
from
that's
the
because
90s.
well, but
Well,
see, but
or-
Buffy's good and Buffy has like interesting challenges.
but, like-
Buffy as a
I'm thinking more like TV series. Like
Yeah.
you've
But, like,
watched
Pretty-
stuff that's
But
worse
so like
than
Pretty
Law and
Little
Order.
Liars. See, that's the thing. Like Pretty Little Liars or those kind of things are well executed and well written. They aren't well written or well executed for me.
His and her
Or my
circumstances.
age.
But that's what makes them brain candy because you're not like challenged. You're not that into
But
it.
they're
You're not going
still-
to tell your friends to
But
watch
I
it.
still
You're
appreciate.
gonna
like
hide
I'm still,
the fact that you watch it from all your friends.
No, I'll tell them all about it. The difference is that like
those
they're
those
not
make
they're,
you a little hot and
they're-
bothered.
Yeah. well, no, they're easy to watch, but they are like
And hard to
they're
shut
still
off.
you're still seeing character development and personal like the reason why they're good to some degree is because there is personal interaction and character growth, which is slow and incremental, but it's there. Like there are certain things, like the Riverdale show is pretty trashy, but it's got some good stuff going on in it. It's like a teen mystery murder show with like weird complex characters. It's like it's a little Twin Peaksy in some ways. Like you're aware of its references.
So it
because
kind of
that.
sounds like maybe there is nothing that is brain candy to you.
No, but that's Repossessed is brain candy to me.
Yeah, but
don't
see, you can't
understand.
say you can't with a straight face though tell people to go watch it though because you say it's not good.
No. What I'm saying is, if it comes on, I wouldn't go seek this movie out,
Right. Okay.
right?
But you wouldn't shut it off.
But if it was on, it is not so bad as to like be like turn this shit off.
I guess maybe part of it is that like it's.
I would turn it
feel
off if there were too many commercials.
No, but that the thing is, I guess I feel like it's maybe like something like it's kind of an idea like it's from the past because I feel like in this day and age,
Yeah,
you
1990.
you have so many choices on demand that you don't just watch what's on anymore. You
Yeah.
just don't do that.
That's a good point.
Like if you're like, oh, this movie is really bad, like I'll just look at Instagram on my phone.
Well,
you know,
or
what I mean?
I'll
like
catch
that's
up-
brain candy.
Well, so here's a little like behind the curtain
What about
of editing this show. I've gotten to where I can have one ear listening to the show with everyone at 1.5 speed and edit content
while Repossessed
watching
is on.
something on my phone or on the TV. Like
so
so
like
I'll-
our listeners.
yeah.
Or
Yeah,
except they-
right. Like we have listeners.
but
Well,
basically
they don't have any ears on, but
But basically,
show's playing.
I can get our content in, and then like the mixing and stuff. I focus on that stuff, like when I'm getting into the sound, like the quality of the sound. I work on that bit, but the like content, we're pretty linear, right?
Mhm.
So it's not like I need to like jumble too much stuff around.
Right.
It's more just like, okay, this bit needs to go completely, or like I'm just cutting out fragments here and there, or whatever, right?
Mr.
Mostly it's us.
Mr. Fragments. this guy needs
Yeah.
to go.
Let's cut this character out of this series.
and
And with us is Jules and we're gonna get on the show.
Jules, but the thing is like there's some stuff where like I've already seen the Babadook, so I was editing an episode this past weekend and I watched the Babadook
I still have to see
on the
that.
side
Yeah.
because like it's fun and it's weird and I knew
that's not brain candy.
it's not brain candy,
Yeah.
but that's one that had stimulated
So
me at
are
one
you
point.
are you
So
worried
I-
that someone is gonna be like, oh, you can't say Babadook is brain candy because there's some redeeming factors
no,
to
but
it.
no, but
But
I'm
see,
not.
you could say that rewatching things you've already seen is brain candy. That could be your brain candy.
It is, but see, the thing is, it's more like shorthand because, like, almost the idea is with rewatching something, it's like listening to an audiobook of something that you've read physically, right? You've read the book, you might remember most of it, and you can duck in and out because you're working on something and you aren't fully focused on the audiobook. You don't have to pause, rewind the audiobook. You lapse back in, your concentration returns to the book. We're at this moment. Okay, I've read this thing, so I fill in the blanks of what happens to here, and you're getting the same through story and the same emotional play.
Mhm.
You're not getting the same appreciation of language. There are certain things you're going to miss, but there are certain things that are still going to clue in from your earlier experiences. I've watched The Babadook before. I've had the emotional journey with it. And so when I am lapsing in and out, like when we're on a tear and and we're just droning on,
Yeah, once again, you're describing our show.
that's what I'm saying. Then
Our show is brain candy. You can miss, some of it. No big deal.
And you could
Yep.
phase in and out.
Mhm.
yeah, there's nothing. We don't challenge
And,
anyone.
You know, you can be at work listening, and
You
then
just
someone's like, "Hey, we have to have this meeting," and you could just take your
Keep
headphones
going.
off without pausing it. And then you can come back.
And you're like, oh, it's
Put the
over.
headphones back on.
but but I would say like Repossessed is one you could part watch it on your first go through and not miss anything. You know, without having seen, you could watch the beginning and the end of this movie without seeing the middle and not miss anything.
And that's true to a lot of
and,
these.
and not feel like you've missed anything either.
Right.
Right,
You'd
and
be
you're not
fine.
like worried you missed a good gag.
Right. I mean, well, this one definitely not. You're not worried about it. Like you probably can write the gags because they write themselves. It's all low hanging fruit. It's actually rotting on the ground.
What
They just
about
scooped it up?
what about like
No, it's like-
putting on like the shopping network or something like that?
See, the shopping network, like if you watch it ironically, maybe. But the thing is, like the Repossessed at least has like there are jokes in it, and there's some silly stuff. And again, Leslie Nielsen and Linda Blair are good. They mug, they like emote. There's like the occasional, even though it's not executed well, they'll like zoom in on his face, and his face gets smashed.
Yeah, that
Like
was a good.
stuff-
That was pretty good. That was
Like
pretty
those
good.
are cute. There are the occasional punctuation marks, but they're they're like beeps of life in a flatlining page. It's basically like somebody. It's like, oh, was he alive here? No, his cell phone went off in his pocket.
So that's when you're like suddenly like look up at the TV and you're like, oh,
Oh, this is still on.
I have a confession though. Like after Airplane as a kid, I hated all of those films
Really?
until Spaceballs. That would,
bec-
like-
because they never lived up to Airplane. Is that why?
What about Airplane 2?
I don't know. It was
There
just-
weren't that many between those, were there?
There was
Just
like the-
Airplane 2.
just like Naked
Top
Gun
Secret, maybe.
and all that.
Well,
yeah.
Naked Gun came out before after Spaceballs,
Like,
right?
but I mean, as a kid, I was more into Cheech and Chong.
What about
Yeah.
Hot Shots?
Yeah, I wasn't into Hot Shots, but I'm sure I appreciate it now. I'm just telling you guys that.
Mhm.
So
we
I,
can
I
beat
look
you
like
up later.
I'm highbrow
Yeah, yes,
now.
I'm highbrow like all those Cheech and Chong fans.
Yeah.
Highbrow.
Hey,
I'm on the drugs.
those are highbrow movies.
Highbrow.
Highbrow.
All right. I think we've talked about
I'm
this.
not sorry.
I don't want to run the full length of Repossessed with this episode.
Or they
I'm
can
the
watch
man
it.
from the hamburger train.
Hey, our fans would expect no less.
Hamburger.
So when they start listening to this, press play on Repossess, and we'll talk. And then at the end,
Yeah, this is a riff track.
it's an unriff track, really. This is
It's
more.
a riff track, but it's like it has no. You don't even have to like
No,
cue it
this
up.
is-
Yeah, you can miss parts of both,
Yeah.
and
That's
it's
right.
still fine.
This is
And
like
you
can
can
go
start
off sync.
Repossessed now.
And then and we're gonna leave for an hour and then come back.
Yeah, we'll be back in 89 minutes.
That's the other funny
Yeah.
thing. It's really short.
Well, 89 minutes, yeah, that's pretty good.
That's not. I mean, that's
Hour
not
and a
even
half,
90
yeah.
minutes. No.
I mean, yeah, it's 1 minute short.
Yeah. See, you guys didn't think I could count, did you? No, but like Lady and the Tramp's longer, you know?
All right, where can you watch it? You can watch it online somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, don't go look for it. If it just if you just
yeah,
happen
yeah.
upon
Just wait
it,
for it. Eventually, you'll just
Yeah,
watch it
you-
sometime.
You'll be like, I wonder if anyone ever made a parody of The Exorcist.
And
All
then
right.
what else? You can watch
Can't they
it.
just like watch the trailer like 89 times?
It's a
No, you
minute,
can
it's
watch
over a
the
minute.
trailer on YouTube, and you can watch the Devil Wears a Blue Dress music
Yeah, there's
video.
a
Just
bunch
like
of
over and
clips.
over again, and you get a sense
Yeah.
of the film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you can rent it and watch it on iTunes or Amazon or any of those, and it'll probably come up streaming here or there on one of those like random
Showtime or something,
services,
yeah.
stars.
yeah, and as soon as this is done, we're just gonna let the sound from the film play. And
Yep.
you can just
Yeah.
you
And
just
no
half
one
listen
and
to
no
it.
one will sue us. We
Yeah.
have no worries
No
about
one
that
will.
at all.
Bob Logan.
Yeah, we
go
sure
check-
roasted that guy.
Go check it out, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, if you need something to fill the time and it's on, you know what? There's just so many extra minutes in your years of being alive that just aren't necessary. So use them up. Use them up on this movie. All right.
On
I'm
your
out.
deathbed, you know, if you got nothing else to do.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I've got 89 minutes to live.
I guess I'll watch this.
Or what if they had 90, Keith? What would they do?
Watch some of the credits, I
Maybe
guess.
for the
I don't
last
know.
minute, they'd be like, that wasn't very. Hey, that was all right.
Listen, man, that's not funny. That's what happened to my grandpa.
This is in America, the ultimate confrontation of good against evil.
Repossessed. Coming soon.
Such a question, there are many possible answers, such as hard work.
Feel I'm alone in this whole of existence. I know it takes time, but I'm losing my persistence. The distance is too far to fetch, so I sketch on pages and hope that some catch the thoughts of my inverted word.
Off we go. Hey everybody, thanks for listening to another episode of Need You Show. I was one of your hosts, John Holt. You can find me on Instagram at @board_ghost and on Twitter at LordJoho. And you can find my RPG playing podcast at boardghost.com. We have a Patreon now. You can go to patreon.com/boardghost if you want to help us get the show going more. I don't know. If you want to provide patronage to the show, we would really appreciate it. That would be fantastic.
But not this show you're listening to,
Right.
another show.
This show, I don't want to get sued because I'll put the entire 89 minutes of audio of Devil in Blue Dress, and Bob Logan will be like, they made money, and come get my money. So, and I have a new podcast that's out now called Wound and Stab at woundandstab.com, where we read books and stories and talk about them. So read along with us, gang. Keith, where can people find you?
You can find me at earthlingkeith.com. Jules?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at beautifuljules, Jules. How about you, Mr. Mister?
Brooklyn.
Don't
Wait.
sometimes.
OJ's out there.
Oh man, OJ. I mean, I'm in Queens.
Queens,
I'm
Indiana.
You can find me on Mr. Draws Tumblr or Mr. Insta on Instagram if I feel like it.
But really, you should follow Kathy because she posts more of
Of
Mr. Mister's drawings than
Yeah.
Mr. Mister does.
Inkwit Kathy. I think
Yeah.
it's
I don't know how to spell it.
What is
though.
it? Ink Wink?
Inkwit.
Inkwit.
And I didn't know what Inkwit was.
I don't
Inkwit.
know.
But I was like, what's intro 8 cook, Kathy? Like, what's intro 8, Kathy? What is that?
Who you been chatting with?
And then Kathy was like, "You failed the
Yeah.
boyfriend test."
Yeah. And I'm
Again.
And I'm like,
So now you got to be my husband.
I'm like, okay, Google, what's intro 8? And they're like, inchoate. You know, she's like, kind of like, yeah, yeah. She like corrected me. It's inchoate. I'm probably still not saying it right.
Well, what does it mean?
John, you're the smart one.
Inchoate. It's
Inchoate?
Inchoate. It's how you pronounce it. It means like
But I thought it was
Is
like
that really?
inchoate.
no, it's inchoate. It's
It
I
is?
don't think it's intro.
yes, it is. And it's when you're
Live
no,
is about
basically-
to happen.
it's-
Here it comes. Here it comes. Go ahead.
it's the state.
It's like an artichoke.
It's when you've turned it inside out and you're about to turn it back inside out again. The state where it's about to become its not inside out form is when it's inchoate or inchoate.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I always wondered what that was called.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Not to be confused with inchoked.
Inchoate.
That's how it's
Inchoate.
pronounced.
Inchoked.
Inchoked.
Oh, he was confused. He
Nah.
confused that with inchoate. They're synonyms.
It means
It means
Just-
to be wearing a coat indoors.
it's an adjective, just begun and so not fully formed or developed, rudimentary, a still
Yeah.
inchoate democracy.
Well, Kathy's not fully formed. She's like,
No, her blog's not.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still like 10. But she'll be 11 soon.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she won't be in co-ed anymore.
Dude, she's 10 and a half. Come on. But anyway, what are we doing? What are we talking about next week?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Well, before we get into that, Jules, what was
yeah.
new to you this week?
So it's an app that is also a comic, but it's like a spiffy, cool, new kind of comic. It's sort of like, well, I'd seen something similar before, like GIF comics, where each panel is like a looping GIF, except they took that a step further, and it's like each one sort of has an animated loop, but it also has a lot of parallax and depth.
Oh, I've seen it.
And it's an app, and so as you move your device around, you see the parallax happen.
Is
and
that
it's
the one
really
with
cool.
the like the soldiers?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it's called Protonopia, and
Okay.
it's a free app. I don't know why it's free, but
That's
it's,
pronounced
and it's really-
protonopate.
It's Protanopia. If you search that on the iOS App Store, Apple App Store. I don't know if it's on Android or anything,
Let me
but
check.
but it looks really rad. Here,
How
you
do you
guys can
spell
check
it
it
again?
out.
Protonopia is when you have
Protonopia.
2 infinity toys, and one is turned inside out and stuck inside the one that's outside in.
But on top, it's not just novel. It's like, first of all, the art style is really cool. Like, it's like pen and ink and watercolor. And then they did some, I'm sure, some CG stuff. But it's really neat looking, and it's a cool story as well. But it's a really neat effect, and it really is kind of immersive. And it must have taken a long time to do. I don't know. It's really impressive. Like, it's definitely like for free. Definitely check it out. It's really cool.
So I will tell you, for my job, I have to sometimes make stuff that people have to view on iTunes. I have to design little like, hey, watch this cartoon on iTunes, and I have to make the whole thing. And it's called an LSR file that they make, and it has the parallax built in.
Oh, cool.
But and Apple's really trying to push this file because it does this neat parallax, and it looks neat on your phone.
So it's like a file format?
Yep, but the problem is that they don't really make a really convenient way to make it. It's a really annoying thing to have to make.
Huh. What's the process?
Oh, that's like the Apple TV app icons, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so the way you make them, Holt, is you export layers from Photoshop as PNGs with alphas, and then you relayer them on this kind of parallax. It's called a parallax viewer, and you kind of restack them up, and then you can view them as they would be
Interesting.
seen. Yeah,
it's cool.
LSRs. LSRs. Yeah.
LSRs.
Yep.
It's
that is a cool
lasers.
comic.
And some of the stuff even looks 3D. Like look at this hand.
Yeah.
I don't know
Is
how
it
they
a
done
company
did it.
that made it, or is it a individual?
I'm not sure. But I mean, I feel since it's free, see, like look at the hand. It looks all 3D. Wow. How did I do that?
I don't know. This is good, perfect podcasting stuff, though.
Oh yeah. Super.
So
audio.
Protonopia. It's on the iTunes store. Do you know if
Yep.
it's on Android?
I don't know that.
But it's free, right? Is what you're saying?
It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Once you buy your $800 phone, it's totally free.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, plus 2-year contract.
Yeah.
Totally free.
All right. So next week we're gonna have Mister's pickup. What do you bring to the plate next week, Mister, for Brain Candy?
I'm going to bring up Thumper, a video game.
A visual extravaganza.
It is.
Keep your audio turned off.
No, there's cool sounds too.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the game.
This is what Mr. and John Holt argue about, is why John Holt would be playing this game for hours and hours without any audio on.
Because he can't do that while he's recording the
That's
podcast.
right.
He's
I'm
editing.
watching Repossessed for the 17th time.
But anyway, I look forward to learning more about
Yeah, it'll be a
Thumper.
blast.
So check it out. You can
Tune in next week.
It's on several platforms, right? Thumper.
Yep. Steam, PS4, probably on the Xbox. It's an indie
Windows,
game. It's on Switch, probably on iPad or something.
Yeah, I mean,
not
come on.
iPad.
Ah, boo.
And there are definitely lots of clips and footage of it on YouTube as well.
Yes.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on New to You Show. You can find more about the subjects and the stuff that we got coming up on newtoshow.com. You can follow us on Twitter at New to You Show. You can, we don't really do anything on Facebook, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But
just
do
don't
go to
even worry about Facebook.
iTunes and leave us a review and tell other people about the show. Not on
Please.
iTunes, just tell other people about the show in real life or on Twitter or whatever you want to.
Because maybe new to you is new to them.
Yeah. So, and that brings us to our closing statement. It may not be new,
But
maybe it was new to you.
It's all about the music. This pitiful life is 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 all about the music.